Many people see institutional adoption as a sign of Bitcoin's maturation, a step towards mainstream acceptance. But this analysis takes a different view, suggesting that perhaps this very adoption has fundamentally altered Bitcoin's original revolutionary spirit.
That's precisely the core tension here. Bitcoin didn't just appear out of nowhere. It was born, quote, in the ashes of a banking crash, end quote, specifically 2008, the Lehman Brothers collapse and the subsequent bailouts. Its white paper wasn't advocating for more trust in institutions like BlackRock, but rather for an end to trusting them at all. The philosophy was to run code, verify everything yourself, and hold your own keys. That was the essence of its magic.
So, institutional adoption in this context isn't seen as validation, but more like a co-option. It's like, quote, them slapping a lab coat on a pump idea, calling it safe, then charging rent for the oxygen, end quote. Is that the argument being made?
Absolutely. Consider the period before spot ETFs. The price action then was quite different. Bitcoin went from $0 to $20,000 in just 3 years, based purely on raw demand. People were downloading wallets, mining in their homes, and directly rejecting central banks. There were no complex financial instruments like gamma walls or dealer hedging. It was all about code and conviction.
Then the spot ETFs launched in January 2024, and while there were significant inflows, the price seemed, as the analysis states, quote, muted, end quote. That seems counterintuitive. Why wouldn't massive institutional money push the price dramatically higher?
Because the intent behind the buying shifted. These funds aren't buying Bitcoin because they fundamentally believe in its ethos or to hodl it for long-term ideological reasons. They're buying it for custody, to part capital, or to hedge against inflation while they continue to operate within the existing financial system. It's not about conviction, it's simply asset allocation. And crucially, they aren't actually buying the actual asset in the way early adopters did. They are buying shares of a security based on that asset.
And the introduction of options trading on these ETFs further complicates things, right? The source suggests you're no longer trading Bitcoin itself.
Exactly. When you trade options, you're trading a receipt, a paper promise. Some custodian holds the actual keys, and the price becomes, quote, gagged by gamma, end quote. Gamma, in this context, is described as Wall Street's mechanism to control price. It's, quote, Wall Street's way of saying, we'll let you dream about 100K, but we'll sell the ladder right under your feet, end quote. The actual decentralized asset is sidelined.
So what was initially perceived as a step towards legitimacy is now framed as something that actually undermined Bitcoin's original purpose. It turned a revolution into a, quote, pet rock, end quote.
That's the difficult conclusion this analysis draws. We thought legitimacy meant progress, but instead, it brought leashes. Bitcoin never needed the traditional financial system's validation. It thrived on buyers who believed in its decentralized vision, not on sellers who primarily seek to hedge their positions within the old system. It's the difference between true believers and mere allocators.
This perspective certainly challenges the prevailing narrative around Bitcoin's evolution and what true progress might look like for a decentralized asset.
It forces us to question whether the path of least resistance for adoption ultimately compromises the very principles that made Bitcoin compelling in the first place.
If this discussion resonated with you, share it with someone who might also find it thought-provoking.